What's the opera called? Paimon wants to go see it.
The opera is a labor of love by my father. He wrote it based on a popular urban legend about an evil spirit and an adeptus. It's called The Divine Damsel of Devastation.
Hello. Are you here for something off the shelf, or do you need something forged?
Excuse me, Master Zhang. We were wondering if you'd heard of something called a Wonder Core.
Of course I have. Sorry, who's asking?
My name is Yunjin. Perhaps you don't know me, but I believe that you forged some weaponry for my father in the past for stage use.
Yunjin? Stage use? Oh, so you must be Miss Yoon. Sorry, my brain's finally caught up. It's not used to doing much beyond bashing a hammer all day. Everyone's heard of you, Miss Yoon, even folks who don't make it to the opera all that often. Like myself. So, you're here to ask about Wonder Cores, huh? As it happens, I do know how to make them. Matter of fact, I made some for Lady Ningguang back when she was building the original Jade Chamber. The types of ore needed to make Wonder Cores are a little hard to come by. Lady Ningguang supplied them herself last time. I don't suppose...
No, we were gonna ask you what kinds of ore we need.
Sure. Well, you'll need two kinds. Star Splinter Iron and Subrosium. If I remember correctly, Lady Ningguang sourced her Star Splinter Iron from the Mount Tianheng area. They say it resonates with visions. It could take some work, but if you stick with it, you'll find some eventually. As for the Subrosium, though, that's trickier. It's all but unheard of on the market. I'm really not sure. Sorry. What I've heard is that the people around Mount Tianheng have some sort of magic trick that can pinpoint the location of the stuff. Of course, it's probably just hearsay. If you want my advice, start by looking for Star Splinter Iron around Mount Tianheng. And if you run into any locals, ask them a few questions about Subrosium.
Mount Tianheng.
Interestingly enough, the story of the Divine Damsel of Devastation also takes place on that mountain. I hear the view there is quite spectacular. A favorite destination of the Adepti, in fact. Perhaps it can give me some inspiration. Let's not delay. We should head straight there. I came to Mount Tianheng once with my father as a child. I remember it being such a long climb that I could barely feel my legs by the time we reached the top. This is quite a trip down memory lane for me. Look at these majestic, towering peaks and the gently flowing streams. It's like setting foot in paradise. No wonder the legend of the Divine Damsel of Devastation is said to have taken place here. Adepti wander oft where mortals seldom stride. Indeed, this looks like a place that one might expect to be frequented by Adepti.
The Divine Damsel of Devastation is your upcoming opera, right? And the story takes place in Mount Tianheng. Huh. Seems like you have a real connection with this place. What's the story about, though?
It's the story of a girl becoming a hero.
Cool. A hero story? They're Paimon's favorite!
The legend first arose in this area. It is said that there used to be a prosperous village on the mountain. In that village, there was a loving couple who were completely devoted to one another. One day, a terrifying monster appeared. The wife was out collecting herbs and was captured by the monster. Her husband was so distraught at the news that it broke his spirit and drove him to madness. The vile and vicious monster told the villagers, "If you want to live, you must sacrifice a child to me."
What a nasty piece of work! Ugh. Paimon sure hopes this monster gets put in its place!
But the monster was so terrible and so strong that all within the village were terrified of it. They had no choice but to give in to the monster's demand. Just while they were discussing whose child would be given over to the monster, a little girl suddenly stood up and came forward.
No! Don't do it, little girl!
Unbeknownst to anybody else, she was concealing an exorcist's blade. She approached the monster's lair, feigning fear and trepidation. When she finally arrived, she courageously drew her sword and entered into a fierce struggle with the monster, from which she eventually emerged as the victor. Her extraordinary abilities drew the attention of the Adepti, and they took her as one of their own. Her story became the stuff of legends. But alas, the paths of mortals and Adepti seldom cross, and she would never again re-enter the mortal world. And so, destined to grace the mortal realm for but a brief moment, she vanished like a wisp of smoke into thin air. That's how the opera ends.
I really like this story. But I personally think that perhaps the little girl was not as brave as the opera makes her out to be. I'm not sure she deserves all the praise she is given.
I've never considered the opera is always an interpretation of the events it purports to portray. A certain degree of deviation from the truth is... When my father wrote the script for this play, I suppose his intention was to inspire his audience with...
I think it's a great story.
Well, it sure inspired Paimon! Let's go get ourselves some Star Splinter Iron! Yeah! Hey, there really is someone here. Yunjin, looks like you were right. Huh, he didn't seem to catch that.
Hello, sir. We were just passing by and wanted to ask if you happen to know anything about Subrosium.
Is he trying to tell us to look for clues in the village? Well, whatever. Guess we're on our own here. Shenhe, Yunjin, let's have a look around.
Sorry, you can go ahead without me. I'd like to have a word with this gentleman. If that's okay with you, Uncle Mingjin.
It's...
Shenhe.
Shenhe. You're alive. The rumors were true. So, all these years? I'm sorry, I don't know how to find Subrosium, but I think you can find some information in the village. And this place is deserted now. No one ever comes here. So you can rummage around all you want.
Huh? You know this guy, Shenhe?
Thank you, kind sir. We'll go and take a look around. Don't worry. Mingjin has no ill intention towards Miss Shenhe. She'll be quite safe.
Okay, then let's see what we can find in this village.
I came back here once before, a few years ago. Alone. I hid it from Master at the time. It was deserted then, too, except for a few low-life bandits. Everyone and everything I remembered was long gone. I tried explaining to them that I wasn't an Adeptus. When I saw how run down all these houses were, I felt at a loss.
Suddenly, so much time has gone by.
Last time I visited, I felt so upset.
It is easy for your mind to run wild when you are alone. But
Yes, I came back here once before. It was deserted then, too. I tried explaining to them. When I saw how run down all...
suddenly,
Last time I
it is easy.
Yes,
What's this? So... divine damsel? Now that I think about it, she does behave rather like an adeptus, and she is about the right age, so that's why I've been getting the strangest feeling whenever I check. According to this text, the divine damsel from the opera was actually the daughter of the loving couple, and she didn't volunteer. She was sacrificed to the monster by her own father. Oh, the truth is even more lamentable than the opera. Now I understand why Shenhe said the girl was not as brave as people think. It wasn't her choice to enter that ghastly situation. She was forced into it. Oh, it looks like my father may need to make a few revisions to his beloved opera. So it seems that Shenhe's father thought he was summoning a benevolent deity using a magic incantation. But in fact, he summoned an evil god's remains, which took the form of a monster. His obsessive yearning for his deceased wife led to a terrible tragedy. The villagers moved away in fear, without ever learning the truth. And now, this place is deserted. Still, I do wonder what the connection is between Shenhe and Mingjun.
This is it! So basically, we need to go to the middle of the lake south of Mount Tianheng at dusk, and we'll find us some Sabrosium! Let's go back and tell Shenhe the news!
There is no escape!
Let's dance!
Illusion shattered!
She's getting away! Shouldn't we go after her?
This place is unstable. It is too risky to continue pursuing her. If the place collapsed, the consequences would be disastrous. Let's head back. I'm just a little exhausted. Otherwise, fine. I wanted to deal with it myself. I didn't expect you to follow me. Don't worry. She's not coming back anytime soon. After an injury like that, she'll likely seek refuge somewhere else.
How did things go underwater?
It's been dealt with. She was injured before entering the water. It didn't take too much effort to finish the job.
Good. So the crisis has been safely averted. When you visit the Jade Chamber in the future, you will be afforded generous treatment.
Lady Ningguang, the fleet reports that the sea monster has left Guyan Stone Forest and the surrounding waters have returned to normal.
Thank you. How are the Millilith?
Thanks to the medical supplies you prepared and Lady Keqing's command, our losses were minimal. Of course, we owe huge thanks to this young lady for her help. On behalf of the entire Millilith, thank you for your service.
Great. Then next time I watch Miss Yun's opera, I'll be able to take the compliments. I wasn't trying to be a hero, though. I just wanted to protect you.
Let the soldiers recuperate, but don't let your guard down. If she returns with a vengeance, we must be prepared.
Yes, ma'am.
You've been monitoring us for some time now. I trust you've reached a conclusion.
You wish to hear one's opinion. Well, things would have hardly gone so smoothly had it not been for Shenhe.
That I do not deny. However, final victory was always going to be ours, even had things been a little more arduous. If it came to it, I could always destroy another Jade Chamber.
One has observed your adaptation of the Guizhong Ballista. and find oneself compelled to admit that you have evidenced some degree of novel thinking. You have learned from past failures and prepared for this crisis in advance. This is considerable progress compared to the last time. Hence, on balance, one finds your performance during this trial satisfactory enough. But there will no doubt be further trials to come in the future. Do not suppose that one will not continue observing you hereafter.
While the position of Tianquan remains mine, I will always ensure Liyue's safety.
Shenhe, one saw you secretly venture out from the mountains a few years ago, and noticed the air of dejection in which you returned. Hopefully this trip to Liyue Harbor has been a different experience.
Yes. I can't explain it, but I feel happier than I expected.
Good. Traveler, please take good care of Shenhe. She is a dear child. In fact, one has many fond memories of Shenhe's childhood that she may be interested to hear about.
There'll be no need for that.
Oh. They are all like this. Fine. Since you care not to listen, one shan't be telling you. One shall be going homeward now.
Please, have a good rest. Come to the Jade Chamber when you have recovered your energy. We must celebrate both the completion of the Jade Chamber and the fact that Liyue has weathered another crisis. This banquet must be the most spectacular ever.
Wow! Everyone's already seated! It's Paimon's first time attending a banquet in the Jade Chamber. The food here looks amazing.
All of you here are my distinguished guests. I am determined that each of you thoroughly enjoys yourself. Those who don't drink alcohol, please, help yourself to other beverages. Fine wine is a delight to the senses, but it is far from the only one. I trust you will find the marvelous view from the Jade Chamber to be an equally gratifying indulgence.
Have you heard? Miss Yun's going to be performing today.
Sure have. Honestly, it's the main reason I'm here. I've never missed any of Miss Yun's performances, and I don't intend to start now. I hear she's going to perform The Divine Damsel of Devastation today, the one written by her father. I've been so excited that I've barely slept the last few nights.
Hey! Look! Miss Yun is going on stage!
神女披冠到这里本该接近尾声，但今日我再添一笔，唱与诸位。 彼时鹤归，茫茫天地无依靠，孤身离去。今日再会，新朋旧友坐满堂，共聚此时。